Welcome to Mari Lakshman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. I will be discussing antennas and wave propagation. So today we will be discussing about space wave propagation in detail. Okay. Previously we have discussed what is space wave propagation and what is the range of the space wave propagation. Okay. So today we'll see this syllabus. Till this we have already completed the previous sections. If anything is not done and if anything is not covered, we'll see it again. As per the questions, so there are no specific many times repeated questions in space wave propagation. So not too much bother about this, but the concept is very easy and important to know. Okay, this super refraction, M curves and duct propagation we have already discussed in the previous class. So you can go through the previous class. I have shared you the video also in your group. Okay. Next. So see the questions, previous questions. So almost no question is from space wave propagation. So not to worry about this part especially. So space wave propagation, if you know the concept, you can write easily. Okay. So you can see all the LAQs, SAQs, almost no space wave propagation specific questions. So today that's why we'll be seeing one problem also and one important derivation, a small derivation to know the range of the space wave propagation can be done. Okay, let's start space wave propagation. What is space wave propagation? To discuss first what is space wave propagation, we already know that the range of the space wave propagation starts from above 30 megahertz. So if frequency is above 30 megahertz, what happens to the wavelength? Wavelength becomes very less because lambda equal to c by f. So if f is increasing, lambda will be decreasing, which means, so if lambda is increasing, wavelength, if wavelength is less, so if the wave is traveling, electromagnetic wave is traveling in space, okay, if there is any obstacle coming in between, so the wave will get cancelled then and there, and it will not be transferred further beyond that obstacle. So it is very important that you are not getting any obstacle in the space wave propagation. Okay, then, so we all know that space wave of propagation is with very high frequencies. Okay, the radio waves which have high frequencies are also known as space waves. Okay, they can penetrate into the atmosphere, we have already discussed that, and it can go beyond the ionosphere. Okay, so if you are able to transmit the signals beyond ionosphere, then you can communicate with the satellites. Okay, so which means these waves can travel directly or can travel after reflecting from the earth's surface. So there are two ways of communication in space wave propagation. Okay, one is direct line of sight propagation communication, line of sight communication, or one more is satellite communication. Satellite communication you will be discussing more in fourth year, next semester, I guess. But we'll be discussing according to the antennas only line of sight propagation in this class. Okay. So since these waves travel into the tropospherical region, it is also called as tropospherical propagation. So we have a small question: tropospheric propagation. Describe the troposphere and explain the ducts. So ducts we have already seen. So you can explain about the troposphere means space wave propagation. You can directly explain. So you can see here, if the transmitter is placed here, somewhere here, and receiver somewhere here on the earth, Okay, if you can transmit the signal from transmitter to receiver directly like this, that is called line of sight propagation. Else, you should send a signal onto the earth surface and reflect back to the receiver. That is called reflected wave. You can do either ways. And the other one is into the atmosphere and coming back from the atmosphere. That is satellite communication. We'll see further. So as I discussed, radio waves which are having high frequencies are called space waves. Two waves of communication under space wave propagation are line of sight communication, satellite communication. Okay, the range of space wave propagation or line of sight distance we need to discuss. We'll be discussing only line of sight propagation as of now. Okay, so you can see here. So the height of one antenna is something like this, H1, and the height of another antenna, H2, say like this. So it is able to transmit the signal from transmitter to receiver exactly above the earth surface. Okay, it is almost hitting the earth but not exactly hitting. So therefore this minimum height, if you go on changing the height of the antenna from here to here, okay, if you place the antenna here, then there will be no line of sight communication between both the antennas, so there will be a problem. So line of sight communication to be satisfied, minimum if you have a tangent above the earth surface between a transmitter and receiver. Okay, hope you understood. I'll repeat. You should have at least minimum height of the antennas, transmitting antenna and receiving antenna, such that they both can transmit the signal just above the earth surface like a tangent. Also, it's not a problem. So if it is like a secant, there will be a problem because the earth will stop the signal then and there because of the wavelength is very low. Since frequency is high, wavelength is very less. Whereas in ground wave propagation or surface wave propagation, we have seen that if any obstacle is coming into the picture, it can be transmitted along the picture. Okay, if there is any building coming into the middle of the electromagnetic wave traveling, okay, the electromagnetic wave can penetrate along the building surface and go to the receiver if it is ground wave propagation, but the distance is very less in ground wave propagation. We can transmit. So we'll go for space wave propagation, but there should not be any obstacles for line of sight communication. Okay, so it is possible only up to or slightly beyond line of sight distance. We should consider line of sight distance very important. Okay, this distance is known as can be found by using the heights of the transmitting antenna, receiving antenna. So we'll be deriving that now. Okay, so let us say D is the distance between transmitter and receiver. Okay, heights of the transmitting antenna, receiving antenna, let us take it as HT and HR. Okay, so from the line of sight distance, so let us take D1 is the distance from transmitting antenna to the middle of the tangent like this. Okay, somewhere here. And BC is the distance D2 from receiving antenna to the midpoint. If R be the radius of the earth, so what is the radius of the earth generally? It is 6,370 kilometers. Okay, approximately we can take it as 6,400 kilometers. Next, then from triangle ABO and triangle CBO. Okay, see here, ABO triangle, ABO, it becomes a right angle triangle where hypotenuse is OA. Okay, these two are the other two sides, AB and OB. So what is OA distance? It is radius of earth plus HT. And if you take a tangent exactly here like this, okay, then OB becomes R. We have to consider it as a tangent. Just to understand, I have drawn a little above. Okay, if you consider a tangent exactly, then OB becomes R, something like that. Okay, then if R is radius of earth, triangle ABO and CBO, if you consider, D1 can be taken as square root of HT plus R whole square minus R square, hypotenuse square minus side square. Okay, D1 is this distance. Okay, hypotenuse is HT plus R, this whole square minus this R square. Okay, so HT plus R whole square minus R square, which if you expand it, A plus B whole square formula, HT square plus R square plus 2HTR minus R square. So R square will be cancelled, and it is equals to HT square plus 2HTR. But here HT, transmitting antenna height, is very less when you compare with the radius of the earth. Okay, yes or no? So since HT is far less than radius of the earth, so what happens to HT square? It becomes more or less. Okay, when you compare with R, so HT square plus 2HTR can be replaced with simply only this term 2HTR. So when you compare with 2HTR term, HT square term is very less. So it is approximately 2 into HT into R, square root of 2 into HT into R meters. Similarly, D2, if we take at the receiving antenna side, so it is HR square plus R, HR plus R whole square minus R square. So if we expand this, HR square plus R square plus 2HR into R minus R square. Similarly, R square will be cancelled. When you compare with HR term, 2HR into R term is very high. Therefore, you can take only square root of 2R into HR meters as D2. Now, D1 plus D2 is the total distance we require. So if you see here, D2 is this, HR is very small, and HT is also very small when you compare with radius of the earth. Okay, hope you are understanding. So if you see this, total D is square root of 2R HT plus square root of 2R HR. If we take square root of 2R common, it becomes root HR plus root HT. So it is square root of 2 into 6370 into 10 power 3 kilometers, right? So converting into meters, 6370 into 10 power 3 into root HT plus root HR meters. So which, if you solve it, it becomes square root of 12.74 into 10 power 6 into root HT plus HR, root HR. So which again comes to 10 power 3 into root 12.74. So which is again 10 power 3 into 3.570 meters. So 10 power 3 if you take as kilometers, so we can rewrite it as D equal to 3.57 into square root of HT plus square root of HR kilometers. Okay, let's see a problem for this. So if HT and HR are given as 100 meters each, can you find the distance between transmitter and receiver? Everyone do it and tell me the answer after you get it. Make it fast. Guys, do the problem and reply me back.
Sir, display the question, sir.
Doing. One second. Yeah. HT and HR are 100 meters both. D is the formula 3.57 into square root of HT plus square root of HR.
357?
3.
No, 20. No.
Sir, 71.4.
Yes, 71.4 kilometers.
Very good. Guys, it is pretty simple. So if HT and HR are given, you can find the distance between two antennas. Mute the calls. Okay, next. Everyone got the answer, right? So 71.4 kilometers is the answer. So we'll do one more problem, which is important. So you all should know this, how refractive index mu is coming to be 1 minus 81n by f square. So actual formula for refractive index is mu equals to square root of 1 minus n into e square by m into omega square into k naught. So if you want to find out the value of refractive index by substituting the constants, so the question is asked like this: you need to find out the value of refractive index by substituting the constants. All these are constants. What are all the constants? Mass of electron is constant, which is 9.107 into 10 power minus 31 kg. Charge of electron is constant, 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. And dielectric constant is again constant, K naught, which is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12 farad per meter. And omega is nothing but angular frequency, which can be written as 2 pi f in normal frequency. So where n is unknown and f is also unknown. If they are given, we can solve the complete problem. Since he is asking us to find just to substitute constants and find out the final answer, we are doing that. Okay. So let us see only this part, n into e square by m omega square k naught. So what is the value of m? We have already discussed here. So substitute all this, n into e. E is 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 whole square by m. M value is 9.107 into 10 power minus 31 and omega is 2 pi f. Since it is square, 2 pi f whole square, and k naught is Boltzmann constant, also called as dielectric constant, 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. So when you all substitute this, you'll be approximately getting 81 n by f square. So this becomes 10 power minus 38. Here you have 10 power minus 31, 10 power minus 12, 10 power minus 33, 43, right? So 10 power minus 43, if it goes to the numerator, it becomes plus 43. 10 power plus 43 and 10 power minus 38. So it becomes 10 power plus 5. Then if you complete all the calculations except n and f, okay, taking pi is 3.14 or 22 by 7, anything is fine. So you'll be getting approximately 81 n by f square. So that's why this term in the root can be replaced with 81 n by f square. So that is what the formula which we have in the further questions. So if we know the frequency and the number of electrons per cubic meter, can we find refractive index? Yes. Okay. Next thing is effect of Earth's curvature. So when space wave propagation is done, so if you are estimating the target, okay, so when you are estimating the target distance, okay, you need to know the height of the target. Okay, that is very important. But if the target is beyond the Earth's curvature, which means if you are able to see the target, okay, it's fine. When you are transmitting the signal from transmitter, if it is hitting the Earth surface, since Earth is curved, okay, so if it is hitting the Earth surface, you cannot find the distance, as we have seen in the previous derivation. So if you have tangent, and if it is below the tangent, height of the transmitting antenna is there. So if we cannot propagate beyond the Earth's curvature, then there is no point of space wave propagation can be done. Okay. So if the targets are closer to the ground, if they cannot be seen, then no point of space wave propagation can be done. Okay. So what is field strength of space wave? Okay. It is also called as tropospheric wave. So you can also call it as field strength of space wave or tropospheric wave. So the ER, field strength, can be found out by taking E naught into square root of 1 plus k square cos square theta plus 2k cos theta plus k square sin square theta. Okay. So taking k square common, this becomes k square common cos square theta plus sin square theta, so which is 1. So 1 plus k square plus 2k cos theta. So if Earth is to be perfect, that means k is 1 and beta is 180 degrees, then we can rewrite this as ER equal to E naught into square root of 1 plus 1 whole square is 1 plus 2 into 1 into cos theta can be written as 2 cos square theta by 2 minus 1 using the formula cos 2 theta. Okay, then ER is E naught into square root of 2 plus 4 cos square theta by 2 minus 2 plus 2 minus 2 cancels and becomes ER equal to E naught into 2 cos theta by 2. So where theta is nothing but alpha plus beta and beta is given as 180 degrees, we can take it as pi. So when you substitute here, it becomes cos of pi by 2 plus alpha by 2, which is sin alpha by 2. So final answer for field strength ER equals to 2 E naught into sin alpha by 2. Okay, this is simple derivation where we did not get it till now. The previous one we got it. Find out the distance between the transmitting antenna and receiving antenna in space wave propagation. So we are finding field strength at R dash. Okay. So there is a small concept called scattering phenomena. So what is meant by scattering phenomena? It is nothing but scattering the particles into the space. So reception far beyond optical horizon in VHF and UHF range is possible due to scatter propagation. So if it is way above the frequency range of even UHF, okay, then this scattering propagation will be coming into picture, like after they scatter in all directions after hitting the surface, hitting the target, okay, the reflection happens and we can receive the signal back. So both troposphere and ionosphere are in continual state of turbulence. Okay, so there will be a lot of variations in the space to be happened every time, each and every time, due to the temperature and all, several factors coming into the picture. So when this happens, the waves traveling into the space will get scattered. Okay, so when they reach the particular distance above the ionosphere, let us say troposphere, okay, there due to the several parameters into the picture, so the waves which are transmitted will be scattered. So if that scattering happening, and if it is hitting a target, that will be reflected back to the earth, then we can calculate the distance of that target which is in the space. That is what this scattering phenomena is. So for this to be happened, one important point is the antenna's gain must be very high. Okay, we have to take high gain antennas. So, and the applications for this space wave propagation is mainly, it is used for FM, okay, then TV, television, and radar applications especially, and it is used in very high frequencies. We all know that VHF, UHF, and microwave signals. So what is the range of microwave signals? Above
20 kilohertz.
kilohertz, microwave. It will be in gigahertz, okay?
Oh, gigahertz.
Yeah, very high frequencies, more than UHF. Okay, that is what about today's space wave propagation. Okay, so if any questions, you can ask me. So hope you understood the derivation part of the distance between antennas, two antennas, transmitting antenna and receiving antenna, which is very important.